Ben Kucha from Lincoln is our guest this morning. She wrote this amazing book, Tears of a Mother, about her escape from Sudan during the Civil War, the second one that began in 1983, with her children. Eventually, you know, like you just said, you had to decide, are you going to go back towards the sounds of gunshots and war in Sudan, or head toward Ethiopia where there was no food? You made the decision, and your family eventually ended up in Maine. But how did you get from the Nile River with, you know, bodies of people floating there because of the war and everything else, to get your family to the United States?
On the way from Ethiopia to Sudan, after we were just drinking very, very dirty water, and I decided to go to the River Nile and get some clean water. And here I seen all these bodies floating face down and silently. And I knew that my husband was left behind. And I've been asking people if they have seen those people who were left behind. And all they tell me is no one is alive. So when I look at that bodies, I even jumped into the river trying to flip them over, just looking for the face of my husband. And later I knew that that was it. Yeah. And I had no time to grieve. No time to grieve. I had to think about the life of those who are still alive, my children. Yes, so I decided to just grab some water and go back to them, because I hide them inside the big dark bush. That's where I left them. So I had to come back for them and just pray and move on. I decided to move on. Moving on, at least it will help. That was what in my heart.
Right.
To move on to wherever.
And you did move on, because you made it to this picture right now that we're looking on the screen, when you ended up in Maine with your beautiful family, sitting at a table in safety. Tell us how it felt at this very moment to know you are in the United States, and look at what you and your family came from.
The day I left, after I've done all the process for coming to the United States, was the hardest day for me. One of the boys, my little one, Jock, the one I promised, he was the first one to jump into that bus to the airport. And when I saw all the lights down, after the plane moved, my heart was beating. So I asked myself, is it because I'm going to a better place, or is it because I'm leaving home? I had to ask myself those questions. And we made it to Maine. And this woman who received us at the airport, she thought I have luggage. And I told her I don't have any luggage. And that's not what I was worried about. I just need to get somewhere. And she said, then let's go home. And I heard the word home for many, many years, wandering from under the tree to under the tree, from death to death, from nowhere. And we went to the apartment, and they couldn't even sit down, because they never seen the carpets or couches or anything. They always in the mud. And and I told myself, this is the new beginning, totally new beginning. And America seemed so bright in my eyes, and I thought it hurts my eyes, because I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought I would never see the light again. After eating leaves, and now they are eating the real meal. We were eating the real meal.
God is good.
God is good all the time. And the hope. This is a story about the hope, that there is hope. That is hope.
And your daughter, and we saw the pictures of you and your daughter and your boys. I know you're proud of all of them, and I think one of the most touching moments that I read in your book was when you saw your daughter cross the stage after all the work she did, and she's a lawyer. I mean, from the bushes of Sudan and the Nile River and being chased by military, you're beautiful. Look at that, Ben. I mean, I know you have seen it. I mean, it just brings tears to everyone's eyes to see that in your wonderful son. Look at how handsome.
That's the one I promised. that if he leaves,
That's Jock.
that's Jock.
That's little baby Jock.
That's the baby Jock.
Yes.
At the bumping of the airplane that day,
Yeah.
14 people died that day. That's why I promised him if he leaves, I will tell the story.
Yeah.
And my daughter was holding her hand in the deep jungle at one night, telling her, asking her, do you hear the sound of goats and cows? Because I want her to move, to walk. If you hear the sound of goat and cow, that means there's a village near, but there was no village. I just want her to walk. And the day of her graduation, my mind was absent in the auditorium. My mind was in the deep, tall grass, holding her hand, asking her, do you hear the sounds of God? And when they announced Doctress of Law, I could not believe it. I was like, this is
You know,
the
you are
miracle.
an amazing woman. I mean, okay, if we could just imagine, I mean, we can't imagine what you have been through. Your book is available at Barnes & Noble, you said.
Yes.
She's in the middle of writing a second book, and when she gets done with that, we are definitely going to be honored to have you back. And I'm sorry to say we have to wrap this up now. We could talk to you for another hour, but God bless you for what you have done and what you have shared with all of us.
Thank you.
You are incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are honored to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here.
We'll be back with more Good Life. Stay with us.